with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Flying during the Lunar New Year? You'd better keep an eye on your flight. Pilots from one of Taiwan's biggest airlines may be going on strike. Tiffany Wong has the report.
As Taiwan heads into its busiest holiday season, thousands of travelers may be left stranded as union pilots from EVA, the country's second-largest airline, prepare to strike. The union and the airline have been locked in a stalemate for months over pay raises and safety regulations. The pilots' strike is now planned for two major holiday periods, Lunar New Year in February and Qingming or Tomb Sweeping Festival at the end of March.
我们也持续的会发动2到3次的这个罢工演练，目的就是希望我的会员能够在非常短的时间能够配合工会的指令。
The strike will mostly affect the airline's long-haul international flights from Europe, the US, and Canada. Over 500 EVA pilots are in the union and voted for the action, but they're less than half of the airline's pilots, making the impact of a strike unclear. EVA Air said they're still hoping to reach a consensus with the union before the holidays and are facing pressure from the Transportation Ministry and the Tourism Bureau to protect customers from a potential strike.
要求这个长荣公司因为相关的一个罢工什么时候开始，罢工的时间多久或者是多少人参与等等的，这些都有很多不同的一个情境。
尤其是组团那么他要散就是告知的时间，可能这种准备期确实是短了一点。一方面我尊重现行的法律规定，二方面我们也觉得这应该可以适度调整。
The union says they will give at least 24 hours notice before striking to allow passengers to change their travel plans. The airline said it will give refunds and adjust itineraries for all affected passengers. With less than 2 weeks before the Lunar New Year holidays, time is ticking for the union and airline to reach a consensus. Both say they're still hoping to avoid a strike and don't want to leave passengers scrambling at the last minute. Luffy Lee and Tiffany Wong in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
A mother and her 3-year-old son are dead after a house fire in the southern city of Tainan. Rescuers revived a 4-year-old girl, the only survivor. The building was home to 11 people, but the other family members were away at the time. Investigators are searching for the cause of the fire. The first wave of 1-year conscripts since Taiwan extended its military service have now reported for duty. Our reporter Jaime Ocon spoke to security analyst Eric Gomez to find out what the new program means for the country.
Can you talk about the significance of a country like Taiwan extending its mandatory military service from 4 months to 1 year, and what difference that extended duration is going to make?
So I think it's good to think about this through the lens of what conscription can do for militaries generally and what it can do for Taiwan specifically. So I think at the general level, conscription can be helpful for creating a measure of societal buy-in for military action. It can also be really useful for having a sort of large pool of people in the population who have had some measure of military experience. So that way, if a war does happen, they can sort of relearn or come up to speed on certain skills quickly and be activated as, say, reservists. And so for a country like Taiwan that's facing, a potential invasion threat, the big value add for conscription is that potential for having that pool of people involved.
Looking at manpower, active forces, Taiwan has about 170,000 and China's got more than 2 million. If this is the case, should Taiwan maybe be investing more in unmanned systems instead of actual human beings?
I think that's a great idea, right? Anything you can do to sort of squeeze more efficiency and combat power out of small units of troops. The other thing I would say too is that, China's numbers look very impressive on paper in terms of its active duty military, but the big restraint for any sort of invasion situation is they have to get across the strait and onto the island, right? That creates a bottleneck. Not all of those, however many millions of troops, are going to be coming all at the same time. Also, the other theater commands that are involved in China's military probably going to be watching their own sectors in case there's anything coming in that might attack the Chinese mainland. So the numbers are, I don't know if I'd call them favorable for Taiwan, but they're not as bad as a sort of first glance would seem. But a lot of that depends on making the right choices about equipment and also training.
And what are you looking at specifically in this new 1-year conscription period?
More money attracts better quality soldiers, right? But that also means, like, for if you have amount of budget, right, and you're paying your troops a bigger section of that budget, and you want to keep acquiring new systems and capabilities, that means the budget's going to have to go up, right? And so keeping that political will, and I know the legislature is going to be divided coming into Lai's administration. That's going to be a trickier thing to pull off, but I think that's important for making sort of all this stuff work. The second thing is, I think once Taiwan receives, especially the Abrams tanks that the U.S. is going to be delivering, I think the deliveries start for that this year and go through 2026, and ditto with the F-16 Block 70. I think both of those get full delivery by 2026. Once Taiwan has that in hand, my advice would be you have enough sort of traditional military capabilities to handle the gray zone, to handle the coercion and the prodding.
That was Eric Gomez, a security analyst, speaking to reporter Jaime Ocon. Taiwan experienced waves of online disinformation during recent elections, mostly spread by bots. Could disinformation linked to artificial intelligence interfere with elections? It's a growing concern, given that we're just at the start of a record year for elections worldwide. Joy Sung reports.
2024 will be a historic year for elections worldwide, a major test for democracy amid a growing threat of disinformation driven by generative artificial intelligence. The dust is settling in Taiwan, one of the first of at least 40 countries and territories to elect new leaders this year. But researchers say in the lead up to the elections here, Taiwan saw more sophisticated and aggressive attempts by Beijing to undermine its democratic system, with more online bots parroting Chinese Communist Party narratives.
Taiwan is number one in terms of foreign government dissemination of false information. Number one, 11 years in a row.
Foreign interference in domestic elections is not new. One of the first examples was in World War II, when Britain used wiretaps and made up news stories to try and sway the U.S. presidential election in their favor. 76 years later, a more serious case. The 2016 White House race between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton saw a boom in automated bots, spreading fake information on social media like digital wildfire. Something that could get worse with increasingly savvy AI.
It has the potential to flood the zone with all kinds of crap. AI more generally can act as a way of dividing people so that they all believe what they want and they don't have any common ground on which to base a solution.
Trust in democracy has also taken hits, like baseless claims of election fraud, sometimes amplified by candidates themselves. Analysts are concerned that such divided societies make for a fertile breeding ground for AI to cause damage.
The worst case would be several disputed elections where it's very, very just unclear to anyone outside who won it, because there was some kind of last minute wave of misinformation or hacked and released data.
With the fate of major powers and global order on the line, some analysts say social media companies need to take responsibility for disinformation and weed out harmful bot activity. But such self-governance hasn't happened yet, leaving voters to their own devices to exercise their judgment in deciding what's real and what's not. Eason Chen and Joyce Sen for TaiwanPlus.
Police have taken down 2 fraud rings that each stole over $5 million. One group masqueraded as the investment firm BlackRock, using messaging app Line to dupe over 100 people. Police have made 57 arrests across Taiwan after a 1.5-year investigation. They've also arrested 8 for a cryptocurrency scam that stole victims' digital funds. Taiwan is urging universities to attract more international talent to Taiwan. At a meeting of university presidents, the Education Ministry proposed setting up new programs that work with local businesses to offset Taiwan's shrinking workforce. The program will offer free tuition to foreign students who opt to continue working in Taiwan after graduation. 2 centres employing people with disabilities are set for an eco-friendly makeover. As John Van Trieste now reports, the project is designed to give workers a more comfortable, modern workplace.
It's a busy day for Li Chunfeng. He's packing up bread and helping customers at the bakery where he's worked for 10 years. Like many of his colleagues, Li has disabilities, in his case limited vision and cognitive impairment. They're all able and eager to work.
扫地拖地。你喜欢这里的工作吗？喜欢。
Li's employer, the Yucheng Social Welfare Foundation, runs 5 different businesses, giving 350 people with disabilities a living and a community.
他们在这里也是有跟同事们相处，所以他们也会有增进他们的人际社交的部分。
But there's a problem. 2 of these businesses are in old buildings that are falling into disrepair. Flooding is a particular issue. The foundation has a plan. It's going to refurbish some of its operations, including a car wash service. The new facilities won't just look nice, they'll be built with green engineering, cutting carbon emissions. The projects plan to be ready for business in 2025.
我们的庇护员工跟我们的10万人次的市民呢，每天都在这里密切的接触。这是一个社会多元、包容、共融的一个非常美丽的景象。
It's not just employment that's the goal, it's dignified and equal employment, where it's a person's work and not their physical or mental condition that counts. Leon Lien and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
A drop in temperatures in Taiwan isn't stopping local gamers from enjoying their passion. Video game buffs were lining up overnight to see what the 2024 Taipei Game Show has on offer. Bryn Thomas takes a look.
Local gamers are spawning near Taipei's Nangang Exhibition Center, hoping to see Taiwan's video game industry level up. They're here to check out this year's Taipei Game Show. Many of them camped outside the venue overnight, all in the hope of scoring some elite loot and checking out what's on offer.
游戏很多都是广告好玩，可是实际不怎么样。实际玩上去好玩的话，就可以提升购买的意愿。他们家的游戏里面动作一直都在不断的进步，然后呈现都越来越好。那我希望决训推出之后，他们也能越变越强。
Over 350,000 visitors are expected at this year's event to check out the 300-odd games on display. The 2024 show boasts 377 exhibitors from 26 countries, but it's games from Taiwan that are in the spotlight. Some developers here are using themes drawn from Taiwanese folklore to create immersive environments they hope will attract local players.
在游戏中，我们可以看到下海城隍庙，也可以看到大雅镇澜宫，然后我们可以在那里面做一些互动的行为，然后里面有一些很多的装饰品啊，或者说神像是可以让玩家去做收集的动作。
And while many Taiwanese developers are just happy to share their culture through games, the government is making a main quest out of developing the country's independent gaming industry.
希望特别强化台湾的游戏产业，特别是我们的独立游戏。所以从过去我们就有编列预算来补助我们这个独立游戏的研发跟奖励。那过去我们大概1年大概有1000万的经费来补助它。那今年开始我们还特别增加了这个所谓的研发补助金，最高一个案子可以来到250万。
With that kind of loot, many at the 2024 Taipei Game Show hope Taiwan's video game industry will soon gain greater global recognition and beat the boss to reach the next level. Ryan Wu and Bryn Thomas for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, check out these animals enjoying the snow at a zoo in Belgium. I'm Louise Watt. Take care. We'll see you next time.